What's up? Here we are. What's today? Wednesday?
Yes.
Today is Wednesday. We are not having spaghetti today. We're gonna have something, dumplings, whatever so we're gonna have that. But here I am with my daughter Isabella, and we're gonna have some Mount Olympic, not Mount Olympic. It's not the Olympics, but Mount Olympus mountain tea. So we have the kettle here, cast iron. We have water from Hawaii. This is Hawaiian water. It's volcanic water from Hawaii. It's naturally alkaline, has all the electrolytes. So this is a good one. I've had some earlier from another. I bought a couple of these, and it's very, very good water. So I'm gonna make some tea here. You like this tea?
Yeah.
Nice day today. Very nice. So we started up.
Why don't you put the cap on? Oh, never mind.
Smells good. So we'll let the water heat up a little bit, and then we'll add a few of these tea leaves. You feel that?
Yeah. It's hot.
No, it doesn't get hot underneath.
Oh, wait, what? It doesn't.
Yeah, so I have the metal just to protect it, but...
Was the metal waste of money then?
Yeah, well, it's a cutting board, so you can use it for cutting.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it wasn't really a waste of money then.
So we'll add some of these.
I want him.
Okay.
Yeah. How many?
Like 5, I don't know.
I think I have to add a 6th one.
That's good.
One more.
Alright, so... Alright, so we got this all set. It's done. So we got some, we have some sugar, and we don't put much. We'll put 1 teaspoon.
That one's mine.
We have a lemon, straight off the lemon tree over there, fresh. Can't get fresher than that. I just cut it.
Why do you need a lemon?
Because it goes.
Oh, okay.
And so put a little bit.
Did you know if you put sugar on a lemon, it tastes just like lemonade?
Yes, I know that.
Milk?
No.
Oh yeah, we don't need milk for this.
We don't put milk in this tea.
I just remembered.
And actually, all right, I'm gonna try this out. It's a bit hot, but good. This is the kind of tea you want to have early in the morning, or kind of like now, late in the evening. I enjoy this tea in the desert. Go out there in the morning time when it's a little bit brisk out, because especially now, going into the summer, it gets very hot. It gets very hot. One time I was up there with Isabella and Amanda, and probably like a few days before Halloween, and we shot a video up there, and I had to wear all that latex stuff, and it was 111 degrees that day. 111 degrees with a t-shirt, but inside with the latex, who knows, it was like 125. It was very hot. I was sweating. I could feel it running down inside, but it gets very hot there. But it's dry heat, which I can take the dry heat. It's that humidity I can't stand. So I'd like to go out there and maybe do a little barbecue. I'd like to make some chicken and rice. I remember going up the mountain and picking my own tea, and then you get carried away. You're like, well, I'm up here now, I might as well pick more, and before you know it, you have a whole backpack full of tea. I could drink that stuff all day and night. There's no caffeine in this beverage.
I think you gave me a lemon seed.
That's okay. So this thing here is very convenient, a lot of power, and you can go anywhere and cook with it. You know, I mean, it expands, so you can put a big pot up here and cook some, I don't know, beef stew. I would cook beef stew, but problem with beef stew is that you get the meat, what's it, the beef chuck, and it's a bit on the rough side, so you have to cook it.
Beef stew again.
Well, you have to cook it for like 2 hours before it gets nice and tender. And if I had to cook it on 2 hours on this thing, I would have to get a bigger, you know, tank thing, or a few of them, because I don't think that thing would last, the little one I have. But yeah, beef stew in the desert, it's gonna be good. But you have to find, there's not much shade there, so you'd have to bring like one of those tarps, because if you go and there's no clouds, it's hard, very hard, you know, to especially cook with the fire going. I've done it, you know, a few times. I've barbecued out there, and I've fried some chicken out there, but it's one of those things. Winter time, it's perfect.
How are you drinking it with no problem?
Huh?
How are you drinking it with no problem?
I don't know. It's okay now.
Mine's killing me. I had one sip and I died. Again.
Yeah. And still have this uncle, so I don't want to say I had, giving the impression that he died. But I have an uncle who, back in the 80s, would get up early in the morning and go grab a cup of coffee and go to the beach and sit in his car and sip it while he's watching the waves roll in and out. You know where I want to go this summer, if we get a chance? Avalon. Try it now, then. If you want a little more sugar. I may get some Jamaican blue coffee. That coffee, Jamaican blue, is really good coffee. Really good coffee. What, too hot? That's another kind of food I like, soul food. About 24 years ago was the first time I had soul food. And a friend of mine who is from Guyana, he said to me, you ever have soul food? I said, well, I probably had stuff they make soul food from, but I don't think I've ever had soul food, no. And so he took me to a restaurant. We went to a restaurant, it was a takeout place, and there was a line, and we waited there, and then he went and bought some stuff, and I had it, and awesome. Very flavorful. I mean, I like that kind of food. And then we go to Chacha's Chicken, Caribbean food or Caribbean food, and their chicken is awesome. When we used to go there all the time.
Yeah.
Chacha's.
Yeah.
They make really good chicken. You can get the hot, the medium one, the mild, but I like the hot one. And I have to get the whole chicken because when I go there, I get the half. I'm disappointed because I want more. You know, half is never enough. So you sit there, you know, and then they give you, what was it, plantains? They give you that. They give you rice, wild rice. Big fan of that place. I highly recommend it. You go to Santa Monica, and it's near the pier on the other side.
Glory.
So yeah, tonight it's like it's nice out. It's a little bit, you know, on the cool side. Not very cool, slightly, but comfortable. Good? When I was a kid, board games were popular. Now, who plays board games? You have iPhone. Nobody plays board games. But back then, you'd go over somebody's house. What?
No one wants to play board games with me.
Right. Yeah, because everybody plays other stuff.
You guys are too busy. And Amanda says no.
When I was a kid, you'd go over like a cousin's house or some place like that, and they would say, "You want to play Monopoly?" And you'd say, "Okay, Monopoly." There was no end in sight. Kept going and going and going. You know, you had to kind of flip the board to end the game. It would never end. Everybody was purchasing stuff. Connect 4 was another one.
How do you win Monopoly?
Good enough to play it.
How do you win?
Oh, how do you win a Monopoly?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Well, you have to invest, and I think at the end, who doesn't go bankrupt, if you don't go bankrupt or you have the most money.
So the first person that goes bankrupt, they just see who has the most money?
Yeah, well, Monopoly is about purchasing and real estate and things like that. It's a good game. Came out during the Great Recession. So, you know, now they have different versions of it. But, you know, we used to play that all the time. You'd go visit a cousin, and immediately they'd, you know, pull out the board games. Trouble was another one.
Trouble the best.
Then there was one came out, I think Milton Bradley.
What about Sorry?
Yeah, that was another good one. Sorry. You Sank My Battleship. Life is another good one. Parker Brothers had all the good ones.
Uno.
Yes, Uno.
That's not a board game, though. That's a
Yeah,
board
that's
game.
a... Checkers was another good time killer.
Chess.
Chess, yes. What else? But I was going to say there was a Jaws one, like a shark, and you'd fill up the mouth with all these things that the shark would have eaten, you know. And then there was a hook, and everybody that played had to pull something out of the mouth of the shark. And if it remained open, you were okay. But if the you know, the jaw snapped shut, you were the loser. Loser without a mezuzah.
Wait, I remember there was this game, I just vividly remember it, where, so there was like these, I don't know, it was like a path, like little islands,
Yes.
and they were connected, and then there was like a shark at the end, and me and Amanda would always play it, and so basically, the shark would start moving, and you would have to try and not get eaten by the shark.
Oh, I don't know.
And I don't know, I just remember that.
That sounds like it's from the future. I don't know.
I probably had a dream of it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, every generation has its own entertainment. You know, in my time, board games dominated. And then we ran outside and played hide and go seek. I thought it was Heimgol Seek. You know, I would say Heimgol Seek. Want to play Heimgol Seek? And then I saw the spelling of it one time, and I go, oh, it's hide and go seek. It's kind of like what it actually is. But I thought it was Heimgol Seek. And then the other game, Relivio. Relivio was a big popular, you know, game or sporting event when I was a kid. I love
Shoots and
Relivio.
Ladders.
Huh?
Shoots and Ladders.
Streets of Madness.
Shoots and Ladders.
Oh yeah, Shoots and Ladders. Well, there was another one, Mousetrap. That was another.
Ooh, I've seen that game before.
Yeah, that one. And what's
There's also that one where there's like the pirate and you have to pull these like
Oh,
either
yeah.
you insert this, I think it was like you insert the swords in, if the pirate pops out, you lose.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. So I had a neighbor when I was little. They had a dog, and that dog always barked. A fly would go by, the dog would bark. And the dog's name was Frisky. Now I didn't know what Frisky meant. I thought that Frisky was a dog's name, but they named her Frisky because its personality was frisky. So the dog, they'd leave the dog out in the back porch on a chain all day, and then you'd hear barking, and then the owner would come and they'd put it in the basement. And then sometimes at 3 a.m. you'd hear whoa, 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 and then the door would open up and they'd pull the dog in. And anyway, so that family had 3 daughters, and the youngest one was probably like 5 years older than me, and she would always scream. The fly would come near her, she'd scream, you know, always screaming. And then the other 2 were like much older than me. So one day, the oldest one, she was out in the driveway washing her Camaro. And I went over to visit her. I walked up the driveway and I was hanging out with her for a while, and she was, you know, vacuuming and doing all that. And then she went down in her basement and she said, you know, you want to come down? And I said, sure. So we went down in the basement and she showed me a wall with shelves. There must have been 100 board games that they had throughout their childhood that they stored there. And I go, wow, you got everything. She's like, yeah, we used to play a lot of this stuff. But that's how it was back then. That's what they played. And their father, like my father, had a station wagon.
Bingo.
Had a station wagon. He had a Chrysler. Never was a fan of Chrysler. I don't know why. I was just never a fan of Chrysler. I was a fan of Chevy and Ford, but not that much of Chrysler. Although they make great trucks. Dodge Ram. is a great. I mean, Cummins engine. That's a really good truck. You know, then you got the Ford F-250 that I like, and then the Chevy Silverado. But anyway, so they were my neighbors, and they had that dog that always barked, and the young daughter that always screamed. Did you drink it?
Yeah. You started drinking before me and I finished before you.
That's good tea. I don't know what the benefits are for this, but it doesn't say.
What happens if I don't keep it in a dark and dry place?
It'll oxidize. It'll spoil.
Oh.
So, what else can I say? Then we had a neighbor across the street. She was an old woman. Her husband died when I was little. I think I was like 3 years old, and he died. So the rest of her life there, I knew her as a single widow. Well, that's the only way you could be a widow. But anyway, so when I got old enough, I don't know how old was I, like 16 or so, somewhere around there. She calls me up, looked me up in the phone book. We were in the phone book back then, and I knew it was her because she had a very, very thick Irish accent. So she goes, "This is Mrs. Costello." And I said, "Hi." She goes, "Can you come and shovel my snow?" And I said, "Sure." I didn't know she was calling me there to pay me for that. I thought I was just, you know, helping her out. So I finished shoveling the snow, and I guess she was watching me from the windows. And the second I was ready to cross the street to leave her property with my shovel, she opens up her storm door, and she called me back. And then she handed me this white envelope through the crack of the door, and I realized what it was, and I was like, well, I'm willing to do it for nothing. You don't have to pay me. And she's like, she gave me one of these. Take it and shut the F up, basically. So I took it. I went down her steps. Those steps, by the way, are the same steps I crashed into 11 years before that time. I'll tell you that in a sec. But anyway, so she gave me the money, and it was pretty generous. I think she gave me like $30 for doing that area. You know, and back then, you know, $30 you can buy a car with that. But so she had brick steps. There were like 8 of them. And one time my cousin was visiting, and I had this fascination because on the back side of my street there were these 2 big hills. And I said to her, "I'm going to go all the way to the top of the hill. You stay down here on the corner where the busy street is. And when it's clear, when there are no cars, I'm going to fly down the hill. I'm going to go across the street, and then I'm going to stop." So she goes, "Okay." So she waited by the corner, and of course I had to trust her because she could have been like, "Okay, go." Meantime, there's like 4 cars coming. So she says go, and I went so fast down that hill. There were no cars, by the way, that I crossed in, and I was going to go over Mrs. Costello's driveway to cut across to the other street and then hit the brakes. But when I got to Costello's you know, sidewalk, I realized that I had too much speed, you know, that I could not turn the steering wheel and not wipe out on the bike. So I hit the brakes, and I ended up crashing into the steps, and I did like a flip or something, because I remember everything was like, you know, like flipping, and I hit my hand into the concrete, and my knuckle lost the skin on right here, lost the skin. You can still see a little bit how it's like,
Yeah.
that's still there from when I was a little kid. And I actually talked to my cousin recently, and I mentioned to her that, and she remembered. She said, I do remember doing that. I wiped out hard. Luckily, I didn't hit my head.
Why? Well, did you wear a helmet?
No, back then.
Wow.
Back then, we did not cheat by wearing helmets. Nobody wore helmets. Back then, you wiped out. You got up, and you wiped yourself off, and you continued playing. You know, we were tough kids back then. Nobody wore helmets or knee pads or elbow pads. We just crashed. You know, different time back then. Now everything's padded. You know, if a kid wipes out, they get sent to the hospital immediately. You know, back in my day, you wiped out. You just you know, you left the dirt in there and everything and continued playing. Just continued to play. I can't tell you how many times I wiped out on that bike when I was first starting out. Plus, we used to go through some crazy places that one misstep and you were done. You were, you know, crashing into some tree or something. But like I said, we crashed all the time. We fell off our bikes and did a few of these things and continued to play. Nowadays, you'd have your mother nearby. She'd keep an eye on you, and then if you wiped out, she'd run out and pick you up and say, "Are you okay? Should I take you to see the doctor?" You know, in my time, we didn't have chaperones following us around. We weren't even close to the house. My mother had no idea where we were or where I was. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.